Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mia and I run Sticky Kitten Crafts here on YouTube and Instagram, and I also have my own Shopify store, which is linked down below. I wanted to jump on here tonight and talk to you about the market that I had today. This was my second ever market, and this was actually a free market. I got signed up for this market by my boyfriend's stepmom, actually. She went into this marketplace. It's called the West Side Market, and it is near where I live. There's actually a couple of locations in Atlanta, and I think there's one in either North or South Carolina. But the concept is you walk in and they have a bunch of different booths. There's kind of walls that don't go quite up to the ceiling, but walls to separate out and create different booth areas. And you can go in and basically build out your booth. You bring in your own shelving. You can hang things on the walls. You can set up little tables or, foldable shelves, whatever you want to do to display your products. And then you sell them out of there. So, and then every item that they have in that area has a little SKU that is created by the marketplace, and then all of your sales get rung up at the front and everything is attributed to your shop. So you don't have to stay in the shop the whole time if you don't want to. I do sometimes see vendors in there on the weekends kind of refilling stock or, there to kind of interact with some of their customers, but again, you don't have to be. So that's kind of like the general concept of this place. They also have a lot of larger furniture, like they sell couches and chairs, rugs, things like that. And I think those are sold more by like the marketplace as opposed to the individual business vendors. But yeah, so that's kind of the concept. When you first walk in, there's the cash register, like main area, and then they also have a small area where you can set up booths they have like a small space called like their community booth space, and they allow artists to come in on the weekends and set up like either Saturday or Sunday, sometimes both days, and just so you can get some foot traffic to your shop. It's completely free in that area, but you do have to sign up. So, like I said, my boyfriend's stepmom signed me up, and I think when she signed me up, this was like one of the last weekends they had available for the rest of the year. So I only did it on this Sunday, which I'm kind of glad about, but we can talk about that in a little bit. But, that was what we did. Every time I've gone into this place, I guess we'll kind of start diving into the things. I've been into this marketplace maybe 3 or 4 times now, and every time I've gone in, it's been very slow. There's not a lot of people there usually, but I would say there's typically like maybe 10 or so people like meandering throughout. I think today, outside of my boyfriend's family coming, there was maybe like 50 people max that showed up. Like, very low kind of foot traffic, and I feel like for my items they didn't do very well just because like it wasn't really my audience. At my first market, I had a lot of people who had kids, and so the kids were really driving my sales. Today I pretty much only have my boyfriend's family come in and buy things from me, and then I had 2 other people buy something from me outside of his family. So it was a very slow market day, but there were definitely some positives to it. So I'm going to start with just kind of like the rundown of my sales, talk about like some of the negatives. I don't want to dwell on the negatives because it was still a good experience. It was free. The only thing I really maybe wasted was my time, but I don't even think that was wasted. It's always just a good experience to get out there. And then I'll talk about some of, again, the positives of doing it. So let's run through it. So I need to pull up my Square app, and let me just say that I wanted to get the Shopify card reader so that everything would be connected for both like my in-person and online sales. For my first market, I got a Square Reader, and it worked really well. I really liked it, but I just wanted everything to be kind of in one central location. That way I would only have to update inventory in one place. Having this Shopify card reader and inventory management would also force me to put all of my items on my website, because that's something I'm really bad about. I probably haven't updated my inventory on my website in months and months and months. So this was a good way to force myself to do it. So long story short, this past week I went in, updated all my inventory on Shopify. I had ordered my card reader. It never came. So I'm still waiting for it to arrive. So I ended up using my Square app. So I had to put all my inventory back into Square and go from there. I got to the market today. I had my first sale that wasn't a family member, of course, and then the card reader just wouldn't work. I finally got it to work, but it was being super spotty. So just putting a plug in there to remember to, you know, test out your card reader and make sure it's working. Definitely get it going at the beginning of the market. I had such an easy time my first time that when I got to the second time, I was like, why is this not working? Like, I was so shocked, and then I couldn't figure out how to fix it because I'd only used it the one time previously. So it didn't matter. The lady just Venmo'd me. It was fine, but even for my second sale, it wasn't really working either. So I don't know what was going on with it, but that's something I need to fix before my next market. I'll probably bring it as a backup just in case I have problems with my Shopify one, but we'll see how things go. So anyways, let me talk through some of my sales I made today. Okay, so the market opened at about, they're usually open from 12 to 5. I went in a few weeks ago just to check to see like kind of what the protocol was for when we should be setting up, when we should be tearing down, how much space I would have. Definitely something good to check in on, especially if you're doing a smaller pop-up like this. I brought both of my 8-foot tables and made an L-shape display, and I'll show you my display in a little bit, but I think I was a little bit worried that I wouldn't have enough space. So thankfully I did, but I was going to size down to just one display if need be. But I'm really glad I didn't have to because I had way too much stuff for just one table. So just a plug, if you're going to be doing markets, remember to ask about how much space you have. If it's going to be outside and they require a tent, you'll most likely have a 10 by 10 space, but they should, again, kind of like let you know that. But we'll do a run of what I sold now. So in my first transaction, this was to one of my boyfriend's nephews. I sold them 2 chickens, 1 loaf cat, and 1 little stressy blob that has the little stress mouth coming out of it. My loaf cats I sell for $20. My Maybell chickens I sell for $10. I actually sold them one of my like no-so chickens and then 1 Maybell chicken. And then I also sold one of the, again, like the little stress blobs. Those ones I sold for $15. I think in the future I might drop them down to $10, but I do also have the frogs and the octopuses, which I sell for $15. So I kind of just wanted them all to be the same price to make it easier. So I need to kind of rethink that or like make better signs, but okay, next to my boyfriend's niece and nephew, I sold them one of my larger ghosts. If I have a photo, I'll put it up here. I might not have even gotten a photo of him. I also sold them one of the stress blobs, even though I already gave them 2 of them for free. And then I gave them, and then they got 1 large stingray. So the kids loved the stingrays actually. So that's a great pattern. It's by Teresa's Crochet Shop. So that one went over really well with the kids. My boyfriend's other nephew said that was his favorite thing that I had at my market. Next, I sold a mini chubby cat for $20. Again, if I have a photo, I'll include it up here. And then I sold these were both to my boyfriend's nephew, the one that already got a stingray. I sold him a mini poppable mushroom, like the little fidget toys. He got one of those. And then to someone random, I sold a snuggler too for their little boy. I think he's about 2, he said. So that was exciting. And then there was one other lady that I sold a little chunky mushroom to. She paid me on Venmo because that was when I was having problems with my Square account. So I actually didn't even include that in here. But my, let's see. My Shopify says that I made $208.82 today. Plus the chunky mushrooms, that was like $12, so $220 total. And about $4 of that went to the Square fees. So in total, $208 of profit. So that's good for being a free market. My boyfriend's stepmom also had like a list of things that she wanted, but she didn't want to like clear out some of my inventory. So I have a couple of things that I am going to give to her. And I think like her stuff will probably be another like $50 we can attribute to this market. So that'll be good as well. But that's what I sold. So definitely not a super great market, especially after the first one that I had. That went really, really well. But I was not expecting a lot out of this one, just given that I've been there before. I've seen the foot traffic and I kind of knew the general vibe of it. But just, I guess we'll talk through a couple of like things to keep in mind as you're doing your markets. I'll talk about a couple of cons, I guess, of doing this one, and then we'll talk about some positives. So I set up my whole market display over the last couple of days in my living room. I highly suggest that. What I did was I set up, again, kind of both my tables. I had my tablecloths on them. And then I had all of my little items on there with all of my display pieces. That really, really helped me to visualize how I was going to set everything up. I also took photos of the setup so that my boyfriend could help me do it when we got to the market. I would say it took us about 40 minutes to get everything basically completely taken out of the car and set up. And it wouldn't have even taken that long had I not had to tag some of my items. I was way too busy this weekend and I didn't have time to finish up like my inventory stuff or my pricing. So, yeah, it just didn't go very well. But I finished tagging some of my stuff and making little signs for my market. At my market this time, I also used some larger chalkboard signs, and I really liked them. I really liked the kind of ease it was to add those into my display. I also felt like it made the prices very clear to my customers because the signs were right there, right in front of them. For my bigger items, I also put little tags on them, or for most of the bigger items, I just used tags. I didn't use the little signs, just tags, and wrote the price on there. So I haven't gotten any custom tags yet. I may eventually do that and then tag all of my items, but at this point, I'm fine with using little paper tags and just Sharpie writing the price on them, and then using signs for everything else. So yeah, highly suggest setting up your display if you can prior to, and definitely take photos so you know how you did it. That was one thing I did not do for my first market. I might have had photos, but I think we just didn't use them. I don't know what happened, but I hated my first market display. It felt very chaotic, didn't feel very cohesive. This one felt much better. It looked much cleaner. It was just better all around. So definitely do that. The next thing I'll say is that I think for this market, I probably should have shifted my focus a little bit to be more home decor, which is kind of what I wanted, but just didn't really have time to execute on that. I still don't know that I would have made any more sales than I did, but I think that some of my home decor and items for non-children kind of got lost in it. So I think I need to kind of think my booth display a little bit for my upcoming markets and really decide like what I want to have on display. But again, at my last market, the children were like my customer. They were my customer. So I don't really want to change it up too much because it did go really well the first time. And I think that probably will be my customer base, but I may also be able to make sales to people that see some of my more expensive items that really like them. So we'll see how all that goes. But yeah. And then other than that, I mean, again, I would try to suss out the location. So like I never probably would have signed up for this market if I had to pay for it. I will say that. I probably never would have, because I have been there before and I've seen the amount of foot traffic it gets, and I knew it probably wouldn't be worth it. Again, for me, I basically just spent my time today there, and I obviously made a decent amount of profit. So it wasn't horrible, but had my boyfriend's family not showed up, like I would have made probably like $50 or something. So, you know, just, I would say like definitely suss out the places if you're able to prior and see kind of the amount of traffic they get. And just make sure it's worth it, especially if you have to pay a booth fee. I would like hate for you or me to go out and spend hundreds of dollars on a booth that gets no traffic. So that's definitely something good to keep in mind. I will say too, like this place is a great concept. I really like the idea of having the little booth stalls and things like that. I think that's really great. I was asking the other vendor who was doing the community booth space with me if she knew how much they charged for some of their booths in the space as like a permanent booth space. She said that she asked them previously, and you can get a wall space. It's probably like 3 or 4 feet wide, and you know, like floor to maybe 7 feet tall, 8 feet tall. Like that amount of wall space you can get for $67 a month, which isn't bad. Like if you have small items like cards or something else that might move pretty well that you can put on one of those, perfect. For my stuff, I probably could put a lot of it on like some of the, like on a wall space. But given the traffic, I just wouldn't necessarily want to commit to that yet. I want to see that they like have more traffic before I would commit to something more permanent in that kind of space. But then their booth fees, I was shocked, like, because their wall space seemed pretty reasonable, but their smallest booth space, which isn't very large, they were charging like over $400 for that space for a month, which again is not a lot considering like it is a little retail space. Like you don't have to maintain the building or anything like that. Like you just go in, set up your space, and then they handle everything else for you, like all of the payments and customers and all that stuff. But again, given the amount of traffic, I just like would not feel comfortable setting up a booth there until, again, I saw that they were moving through more customers. So again, another downside, but just something to keep in mind if you, I know there's a lot of places that have these kind of little individual booth spaces you can rent out. So just keep that in mind if you think about getting one. But I think they also charge you commission on top of the, like a commission on top of the rental fee. So they charge you $400 for a booth. Then they charge you, I think, like 5% of your sales or something. Don't quote me on that. I really don't know. But it just seems a little steep for me given the amount of traffic that they have. They did say they are working on getting more traffic into their store, so they've done like, they're doing ad campaigns and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully that will help. But from what I saw right now, I would not want to do it, but it is something I am really interested in and I would want to do, but I just don't want to waste my money and like not turn a profit from it. Especially when I can just do other markets and do pretty well for less. So just keeping that in mind. Yeah, so those I guess are some like cons or general things about that market space. And then let's see. The good part is, again, I got to meet the people that work at the market. I believe the guy that was there owns the marketplace, so it was definitely good to just kind of like meet him and know that he knows who I am, so that if I wanted to get a booth there eventually or a wall space, it might be hopefully easier to do it since he saw my booth set up and saw some of my products. He was asking me a lot of questions about my booth, like, you know, what kind of items I have, what are my price points, things like that. So it definitely reminded me that it would be good to have like a little elevator pitch about my about my business. So yeah, just something to keep in mind on that front too. But let's see, other high points. The vendor next to me, she does the permanent jewelry, so they weld the jewelry onto you. She also, like, the only people that, there's like one lady that came to visit her in the morning, and then my boyfriend's sister and niece got little permanent matching bracelets. But other than that, she didn't really have any sales either, I don't think. So again, pretty slow day for her, but she was so nice. She runs 2 of her own small businesses. So it was great just kind of like talking to her, meeting her. And she gave me some really good ideas for other places that I can go to sell my items. There's a couple of places that are gonna have vendors and stuff that she knew of that would have a lot of kids there. So she told me about those, and she said she would send me anything else that she saw that was like related to, that might be good for me. So she was super nice. Definitely always get to know the vendors around you. I love the small business community. Everyone is so sweet and kind usually, and you can really learn a lot from them, especially if they've been doing it for a long time. It sounds like she's been in business for quite a few years now. So I think she said she started in 2017 maybe. So she's been at it a while, but she has 2 of her own small businesses and does markets and things like that. So definitely good to just chat with everyone. But that's kind of all I really have. I'm trying to think if I really have anything else. I did make some really intricate items for this because I was doing more of the home goods. So I made a pillow. This is mine for my couch, but I made one very similar to this. It ended up a little bit bigger than this one, but I finished this one up last night. Or not this one, but the one I made for my market. And that was one of those like last minute things that I was trying to finish up, but people liked it, but I don't know that people want to pay the price for it. So I probably priced that one a little bit too low. I think I put it down for like $100, but it took a lot of work, so it should probably be more, but that was what I had it at. I looked at my website and I originally was trying to sell it for $65. I wanted to just like stab myself at that moment because I was like, why would you sell it for that low? But you know, we live and we learn, and I'm trying to be better about figuring out my pricing by like timing myself and counting my materials and all that kind of stuff. So we're working on it, but yeah, I think that's everything. If you have any questions about my market, again, it wasn't really, I'll include some footage here if I took a little bit of footage, but not a lot, so I'll roll that here.
Yeah, so people will watch and buy something?
And then they can buy the TV at the end. Hi. I don't know if you have any questions. Are Are these real gold?
If you have any questions about how my market went, if you have any questions in general about doing your first market, again, this was only my second one, but I'm still new to the space, so I'm happy to kind of answer questions since I am also new, but I've had a couple of markets under my belt now. Just feel free to drop them below. Any of the patterns that you saw in my market video should be in the Google Doc below. If they're not there, please let me know. I'm happy to add them. I just probably missed them. But I put a repository of where you can find all the patterns in that Google Doc. And then the last thing, yeah, I do have a shop. I know probably a lot of you are also crocheters, so you might not be interested in buying my stuff. But if you know someone that might be, if we have like different kinds of items or something, just put it down below. And yeah, so I am so happy to chat with you guys. I'm hoping to put out some more content over the next couple of weeks. I have been filming a little bit of stuff, but I just haven't put anything into a video. So I think this is my moment. I'm going to start from scratch. We are going to start anew. That way I don't have to keep being like, oh, maybe I'll post this video, or maybe there's some film about this, something or other. We're gonna start on a clean slate, and we will start doing some prep for my next market. My next market is coming up in a couple of weeks. It's the weekend after Labor Day, and it is the same exact market that I did for my first market. It's at a brewery, and I'm hoping to have a lot of kids there so that I can get some good sales in. So I need to really crank out a lot of smaller items. I already have a lot, but I need to crank out more small items, and yeah, just think of some new fun patterns to include as well. So that's what I will be up to over the next couple of weeks. I hope you guys have a great evening or day whenever you're watching this, and I will catch you guys in the next one.